Hello everyone, I'm coming on here completely unannounced while I'm working, but I'm replying to some messages about the sun and the recent content that I've done around the sun, and I have a list of questions here that are related to the sun and sunscreen and mindfully harmonizing with the sun. So, it's funny, I've kind of found myself in this position of being an advocate for the sun. I'm not really sure how it happened. I think the conversations normally start, hi Gigi, because I myself, I'm like a sun worshiper, you could say. Like I have an affinity for the sun, and people see my complexion and they're, Jess, you're so tan, and the conversation starts. Felicity, yes, I think we agree on a lot of stuff. So I'm just going to get right into it. I don't know whether I'll share this live or not, but it's like I'm just sitting here replying to messages, recommending stuff, helping people uncover more truths about this source of life, really, is what the sun is. But in my life, and I'm sure in yours too, you too, Gigi, thank you, sun goddess. What a compliment. In our, I don't have to convince anybody that in our current time, most people they enter this state of paralysis when they think about being outside without sunblock, without protection. There's this panic or this anxiety. And I'm just here to tell you what I think in my perspective and my experience. If you have followed me for a while and you followed me recently, then you know that I'm a big proponent of the sun. The sun is healing. That's the message that I want to put out there, because the mainstream message is just that it's killing us, that it's causing skin problems. And those are completely mythical. They're fueled by a lot of the chemical manufacturers that produce chemicals that go into chemical sunscreens. So without getting too, rabbit hole about that. So here's the deal. Let's back up a little bit. So in the late 1800s, so 1890, around then, in the Swiss Alps, there was a gentleman named Auguste Rollier, and he was helping his patients. They had things like smallpox, tuberculosis, really serious conditions, and part of their treatment and or all of the treatment was to sit or lay out on these sunning verandas in the Swiss Alps. This was a hospital. These were real treatments from a real doctor. And I'm sure you've never heard about it unless you follow me or you follow some of the people that I'm constantly regurgitating their wisdom. But and rickets was another one too, because rickets is a bone density thing. And it's related to low vitamin D levels. So just as a general overview, in life, there have been practitioners that use the sun as healing. So to not use any sun exposure in your life, my opinion is that you are really limiting yourself. You don't have to be like me. Your skin is not like mine. Everybody's skin is different. I would encourage you can look up your skin type on the Fitzpatrick scale, I believe it's called. I've gotten a lot of messages that are yeah, I have fair Irish skin and I don't have skin like yours, so I'll burn. Okay, cool. You should definitely always listen to your skin, but I think that we definitely need to 180 this conversation of when you step outside, you don't need to slather on sunscreen. Your skin is made to interact with the sun. When you just think about the natural laws of the universe and where we came from and where life comes from, what the sun sustains, if we didn't have sunlight, things would start dying. So just as a 180, I'm going to try to work through my list here and not get too fired up on each one. So yeah, Auguste Rollier and that happening in the Swiss Alps is a cool thing that I like to tell people about, because it's just such a departure from any MD recommendation nowadays, unless they're super woke. Now in terms of sunscreen or covering up, if you're going to be outside for extended periods of time, a couple things come to mind. You want to pay attention to the temperature of your skin, sure. But also I would reach for a t-shirt or a hat before I put anything on my skin, because that's my own personal preference. Unless you have really incredible skincare. I'm a broken record, but Living Libations sun care products are the best of the best. If you're gonna just throw every banana boat, Panama Jack, whatever that you have out and start with something different, they do have non-nano zinc based lotion and beach balm. So here's the deal with sunscreens. If you feel that you need to protect your skin, or you're gonna be outside for a long time, you wanna look for non-nano zinc is what you wanna look for. The problem is that most sunscreens, if you go to CVS and buy a sunscreen, they're gonna contain a chemical sunscreen. One of the most common ones is oxybenzone. Get this about oxybenzone. It is known by the FDA to become carcinogenic when it's exposed to sunlight. So like, what an actual bummer that people are putting that on their skin and their children and their families, and they're thinking that they're protecting themselves. They have this white layer all over their body. And then when it interacts with the sun is when it becomes a problem. So you're literally baking the chemicals. It's just this is why I'm so passionate about this topic, is because there's so much need for more truth and information. And so here's the deal with sunscreens. Ditch the chemical sunscreens. Oxybenzone is a common one, but there are many others. So if it says active ingredient, and it's not zinc oxide, titanium dioxide is another physical barrier, but I personally prefer non-nano zinc because it literally sits on the top of your skin. It's forming a barrier, and then it will give you protection. Now that's like if you're outside for a long time and you're listening to your body and you're like, I think I've reached my limit. I'm never advocating for not listening to how your skin feels. Skin temperature also matters. So you might find if you're in the ocean or in the pool, your skin is cooler, it's getting cooled off by the water, you might find that you can be out there for longer. You are still getting the UV, but here's the departure from what you always hear about SPF and shielding from the sun, is that to produce water-soluble vitamin D, which is what your skin innately has been miraculously created to do, which is different than supplements. Supplements are a fat-soluble vitamin D. It acts differently in the body. Water-soluble vitamin D is only produced and only turned on by exposure and interaction with the natural sunlight. So if you in your life think about your day, if you're never outside in the sun without coverage or sunscreen, you're simply not getting what your skin was designed to get through the natural synthesis of vitamin D. So I just feel like when people realize that, when they realize that sunblock, if you're spending 100% of your time outside with sunblock on, you're going to be vitamin D deficient. I can like almost guarantee you that that's going to be the case, because that's how our bodies are engineered to work. You know, in the last few years, a lot of people staying inside more. It is not shocking why more people are getting sick. Without going down that rabbit hole, get outside in the sun. It's not just like a fun recreational thing. It can be, but for me, it's medicine. If you follow me, then you know that I prioritize time in the sun. Something else I wanted to recommend is the app called the D-Minder app. The coolest thing about this app is it considers where you are on the planet, the UV in your area, and how much skin is showing, your skin type, what your vitamin D goals are, which you can like look those up on the internet for, you know, whatever you're shooting for, whatever level you're shooting for, and it will give you the amount of time you need to spend in the sun to create that amount of vitamin D, which is just it's a really cool resource. It's a free app. So yeah, the D-Minder app. Feel free to message me if you have any questions about anything I've said so far, and also if you have any like questions, feel free to throw them at me here. What else? Something else to think about. If you listen to the beginning, the Auguste Rollier, Swiss Alps dude that was using sunlight to heal. How can I get a tan like you? Prioritize time in the sun. It's the most beautiful kind of meditative thing I've added to my day. I've always prioritized being outside, but okay, so without getting detracting too much, the Auguste Rollier, the practitioner in the Swiss Alps in the 1890s that was using sunlight to heal rickets, tuberculosis, smallpox, these are like heavy hitters. and the prescription was like sunlight. So if you get lost in this sea of SPF, you have to apply da-da-da. I don't, that's not the message you're going to get from me. And I've looked into it. There's been a lot of research that I've done. So you don't have to like take my word for it. I encourage you to do your own reading and just get curious about every topic really and related to wellness. So, okay, the studies that were done in the Swiss Alps, they had a prescribed amount of time in the sun. That practitioner found that the treatments were not as effective. You're walking to the pool, Gigi. Fuck yes, I love that. That's the best. Like, if I can just encourage people to get outside, never mind the negative ions and like the fresh air and what that is doing for your well-being. That's like a whole nother added bonus. But if we're just talking about the sun, sorry, my husband and I are trying to buy a house, and I'm getting some texts coming through that are awesome. But sorry, I'm a little distracted. Okay, the treatments in the sun were not effective if the patient wore sunglasses. Okay, so what does this tell us about there are structures in our eyes that are there only to receive light. They are ready to receive light. They are why seeing sun in the morning, ideally at sunrise and sunset, can help you sleep better. It can upregulate your hormones. It's literally, I feel like it's like this secret that like being more in tune with the sun is your medicine. And it's just the most beautiful thing, because it always brings me back to this place that feels good, which is nature's got our back. We just have to kind of pay attention and like trim all the fat and all this other stuff, all these other hacks. It's like, what if you just got into the sun more? Like, it's like a free thing. I feel like it's like this like secret that like people don't. And another thing too is like a lot of people are like, I'm not trying to like work on my tan. It's like, well, first of all, having a tan is the most protective thing that you can have. You know, I have a pretty legit tan. I'm outside a lot. So that is sunblock for me naturally. That is my melanocytes and my skin producing more melanin to be protective, which means I don't burn. Normal glasses are cool, right? Yeah, if you need prescription glasses or like reading glasses, you basically don't want to block the UV into your eyes, basically, is the thing with the glasses, yeah. So, all right. Another thing about the visual part of sunlight is you can act with, I mentioned the upregulation in hormones, the upregulation in all these systems in your body. There's not a system in your body that's not impacted by the sunlight. And so you're going to feel better when you're out in the sun more. It's not like this, like, a lot of people are like, I feel better during... Hey Mary, what's up, girl? Sorry, I kind of wig out when my friends hop on here. Normally it's a bunch of strangers, but so yeah, if you're gonna just feel better. You know, when people are like, I just feel better during the summer, I'm just happier. I'm just like, might be the sunlight. There might be like a lot to do with it. And also that you don't have the stress of work. Some people maybe are working less, whatever. Okay, so the first 40 minutes of the day and the last 40 minutes of the day, you'll find that you can look pretty much straight at the sun or right around the sun, because if you think about the color spectrum, Roy G. Biv, the UV, the ultraviolet is happening later in the day. So you're not getting, I'm in the sun as we speak, yay! I know, I should be like outside doing this. What am I doing with my life? Maybe I'll move out there in a minute. I didn't even know how long this was gonna be. I was like, I just need to like press live and do this. The first 40, last 40, you can look pretty much right at the sun, and you're getting more photons into your eye, more benefit. So yeah, you'll notice this if you get the D-Minder app. So here's kind of a glimpse of that app. If I'm outside at 9:30 in the morning is like my sweet spot, where I have like a naked sunbathing spot that I created on our back patio. Hopefully nobody watching this like lives right around me, but so I'll notice that in the morning, the UV, that app will tell me what the UV is. And it's normally anywhere from like 3 to like 5. And then as the hours go on in the day, the UV goes up. So by like afternoon, there's more UV. So basically what that means is that in the morning, if you're laying out to get the benefit of the sun, if you're just outside, you don't have to be laying out, you don't have to be in a bikini, just like get as much skin showing as possible. You'll notice that you probably have a higher tolerance in the earlier part of the day. And I have this like fly hanging out with me now, apparently. So and that also syncs up with like, that's the amount of, you're going to need longer to synthesize vitamin D. So like, for example, you might need 2 hours or like an hour and a half in the morning to get your daily allotment of vitamin D. Whereas if you have the time in your schedule or your day, or you can form your days around the sun a little bit more, you can spend potentially like 30 minutes or 45 minutes in the afternoon. And because the UV is higher, you won't need as much time in the sun. Hopefully that makes sense. I feel like I made that sound more complicated than it needed to be. But, and I think I already said this, but if you have any questions for me, feel free to drop them here. I'm kind of just going through a list of ones that I've gotten through messages and comments. Another thing, kind of just going back to like what humans are built for, we have thousands of vitamin D receptors all over our body. So like we're built for it. And I know like for some people, they're like, well, I was told my whole life that when I go outside, I need to cover up, I need to put on my SPF. You know, to be quite honest, even being in the clean beauty community, the message is so, oh my gosh, it's like, if you ever had a job where there's parts of your job where you're like, I will not like get on board with this. There's such a push to always like put your SPF on. And first of all, SPF, using those 3 letters in accordance with like skincare that has like a chemical sunscreen in it, those can like only be used if there's like a synthetic ingredient. It's like an FDA regulation. So you'll notice with the line that I recommend, Living Libations, I'm an affiliate. I get a small kickback if anybody makes purchases, but in case you're curious, like I spend my free time just diving into, Nadine Artemis is the founder of Living Libations, and she's been a huge teacher to me on this topic and many others. And it's just a genuine, I spend my own money on it. Yeah, I would be doing this shit if I wasn't on social media. And just as a reminder, but those products you're not going to see on the Living Libations website, for example. They're not using the term SPF because that doesn't apply in like the world of like botanicals. It's only like a synthetic pharmaceutical geared regulation. It's like regulated, you know, SPF 25, 50, whatever. So basically, here's the thing about the plants. Let me read this question real quick. Yeah, so I've even talked to my parents about this when I was visiting them recently, and I was like, what I want in a house, and like my husband and I are buying a house, and I want a spot that I can make a private like naked sunning deck. Like there's nothing like hot about it. It's literally like a health practice for me. Like it's not about aesthetics. I'm not trying to deepen my tan. I'm trying to have a spot where I can go naturally upregulate my vitamin D levels every day. So for me, we're in an apartment. Honestly, I think I bought both things on Amazon. One of them is like a big kind of curtain, an outside curtain, and then a kind of like a blocker that goes on like the railing. Yeah, it was, I don't know, maybe altogether it was like around $100. So I don't know, a little bit of an expense, but it was important enough to me to do that. So yeah, for all these reasons, like I see it as healing, and it's not just like a hippie thing to say. It's, you can dig into the research and really see that a lot of other cultures have been prioritizing outside, maybe even unknowingly. It's almost like people that are just outside a lot, maybe they feel good and they don't really connect the dots. They don't like connect that why they feel good is because their vitamin D levels are up. And something that Nadine Artemis talks about a lot, who's the founder of Living Libations, the skincare, sun care company that I recommend. If you go on my feed and look at recent posts, it's just the best freaking skincare line. I feel so freaking good about recommending it. Something that she talks about is that, like, when you think about plants, like I'm staring at this giant field behind our apartment complex, which in a way is nice that I don't have a neighbor right there, but plants actually, like, plants have their own protective ability against excessive UV. And it's all about harmony. It's not about baking. It's not about roasting yourself. It's not about becoming a lobster. It's not about again, being disconnected from how your skin feels. It's about a mindful, harmonizing relationship with sunlight. And once you kind of educate yourself on what the sun is doing for your body, you're not going to like go back, because you're like, wow, why would I ever put that chemical on my skin that becomes a carcinogen when I go into the sunlight? It's like the craziest thing ever to me. So, okay, I think I kind of covered everything else. If you guys have any, I know there's like not many people here right now, but if you have any questions about the sun and sunscreen and all of that, feel free to drop them here. I'm probably going to hop off here pretty soon. I want to make sure I covered everything. I'm going to hop on this post to make sure that I got to all your questions. Okay, I guess I'll say, as far as doing your own research on the sun, like the number one place to start is the book Renegade Beauty by Nadine Artemis. She's the founder of Living Libations. That book is like a health manual. It's a holistic alternative health manual. She doesn't market it that way, but I'm telling you, I've read the whole book and I'm going through it for like a third time, and it's just definitely helps you. And if you're somebody that really requires the science and all of that, and you're not so experiential, I would rather just hear about people doing stuff and it be more anecdotal. But if you're looking for the science, it's there. She includes all of that so you can keep furthering your research. And then I know sometimes the most daunting or intimidating part is now you have all this new information, and you'll start noticing how many people are just so covered up and they're afraid of the sun, and they think that the sun is causing skin diseases. And I'm just here to tell you that it'll change your entire life if you start looking into that the sun is not creating all these problems. A lot of it is these polyunsaturated fatty acids that we're eating all the time, i.e. canola oil, mazola, just processed vegetable oils are in pretty much every processed food, and even in a small percentage. So if you can start moving away from all of those things are what's creating the expression of a sun-damaged skin, in air quotes. It's not the sun. I know that sounds like crazy talk if you've been told your whole life that, like, wrinkles and skin damage. Nadine, yes. If you like remember one thing from this, just look up Nadine Artemis. She's just she's incredible. She also has a book it's called Holistic Dental Care. And honestly, I think I love her work so much because she reminds me a lot of myself. Just this curiosity to dig deeper on stuff, where she looks at nature and everything seems to make sense. And then you look back at the regular world and it's like, dang, everybody's telling you all this stuff in nature is like so bad. And it's like, it just doesn't feel right, at least to me. So, and then once I've gotten into like how the sun is used as treatment for stuff, I'm like, well, of course it is, but what a bummer that nobody knows that. So I think I'll wrap this up. Thank you to all of you that have commented and hopped on. I know I am definitely long-winded, but this is a topic that I've become just super passionate about, and I didn't realize really the lack of education out there by bloggers on the internet. It's all just SPF, and I just can't. Thanks for being here. Just passionate about kind of clearing up all these kind of myths, because the sun is getting blamed for a lot of stuff. One other thing I want to say is that I'm currently adding these sun care products. If you go back to my feed, there's a post that I made, I think 2 days ago, that says Holistic Sun Care Starter Pack, and then on the bottom there's all my recommendations. I'm working on adding all of those specific products to my website. In the meantime, you can just use my Living Libations link. Another thing though is that in several of my sun care posts, if you're like, okay, I get it, I need more sun, like what do I do? Or you just want to learn more and hear more about why the sun is so medicinal, a lot of those posts I link to podcasts that I found completely like so good. Like they'll just make you smile. They'll make you appreciate walking out your door and just being able to be in the sunlight. So hi Sarah. I was just about to hop off of here soon. If you guys have any more questions, let me make sure that I covered everything that I had written down. Some of the most common things. Yeah, so just like, I feel like the biggest question that I've gotten is like, okay, so then like what kind of sunscreen? I think I already answered that, but just to be clear, you want non-nano zinc, and if you don't want to make your own at home, it's called Everybody Loves the Sunshine Zinc Balm, or Everybody Loves the Sunshine Zinc Lotion on the Living Libations website. I have a 15% off link in my bio. I do get a small kickback, but I personally buy these products, and like, they're what we use, and I just couldn't believe in them more. So, okay, what kind of sunscreen? And then just the comment that like a lot of people are like, well, I don't have the same skin as you. Absolutely. With 100% certainty, I can say you don't have the same skin as me, but you are a human, and humans need sunlight. So I would just get curious about that. Maybe that feels really disruptive to start looking at all this elaborate effort that you've gone through to like cover up during the summer, but I hope I can be just a small chirp in your life to like question that, and you can use these resources to learn more. Okay, long-winded as always, but thank you for being here for this kind of impromptu live. Maybe I'll save it, and then yeah, keep the questions coming. Yay for the sun. Okay, bye.